So there's a semi outside right now, like unloading, and I went out there and he had, I forget, I think it was 84 or something. It's like something 66, like 84 66 or something like that. 93 66 or something. I don't remember. It's just, it's just so intricate, you know? It's just ridiculous, bro. I came out of my bathroom this morning and I look out my window right when I come out, and there's just one cop driving by right when I walk out and look out the window. My heater on my wall is turned on, synced. And I was just outside, and there was a bunch of people like coming out, opening, closing their car doors, and pulling up in cars and pulling off in cars, and walking in and out of buildings and stuff. And they're doing it synced with me clicking stuff on my phone. Like I'm just standing there on my phone. They're doing it synced with me like clicking things on my phone, and like with each other and shit. And I don't know, man. It's just crazy. And then there's two guys with blue shirts syncing up out there. Just like yesterday on that video where the two guys with the blue shirts walked in front of me simultaneous. There's two blue shirt guys outside when I was just out there right now, syncing up each other. Like one's getting out of a truck as another one's walking out the door next to me. And then when I was in the bank this morning, like every time I go in there, there'll be like the people that work in there and people that don't work in there are all syncing up on me every time, and they'll just be like standing around, and then they'll move around synced with me, and then they'll be closing doors synced, like slamming doors synced, and doing all types of sync things, just anything that you can do synced. So they're doing it synced, and then they're walking up to me and saying hi synced, and all types of sync things. And then I don't know. It's just a million sync things per day, and I forget half of the sync things. I just forget because there's so many of them. My brain can't store all of them. Not that I would want to either. I want to just forget about the sync things. But I don't know. Just got on here to say it's a lot of sync things again. There's that article I just posted. It's kind of weird that Big Ben stopped at 9 at like 9 a.m. or whatever, and then it rang 11 times. The clock stopped, and then the bell rang 11 times. It stopped at 9, so 9:11. And then there was also some horses that I think it was the same day. I'll have to double check, but I think it was the same day. Like I just saw this, someone was posted about it on Facebook. So I'm just like copy and pasting, basically. But That happened, and then there were these horses in London that were like covered in blood and like running around. I think it was on the same day. I don't know. Some weird shit. But what else? The semi's been out here a really long time. Like they usually don't take this long to unload a truck. I don't know what's taking so long today. He's been out there a long ass time with his 8466. And he's just making slamming noises, synced a bunch of times. Like they'll just be unloading the truck. He's doing it right now. I think he just started the truck, maybe. And they'll always do that. Like if I walk by a truck and they're unloading it, like they'll have like the side door on the trailer will be open, and then it has the ramp that comes out of it, and they wheel stuff off the ramp. I don't know, it was this other white truck that started. He's a stalker. And then the guy in the back of the semi walked out right when he turned out of the parking lot. And now he's closing the trailer. Now he's going to take off finally. And he's closing the trailer door right as the white truck drives out of the parking lot. But they'll have the ramp on the side of the trailer. And sometimes they'll just wheel stuff down out of it right when I walk by the ramp. And then other times I'll walk by it and like they'll just make a noise inside of the trailer. Like I don't see the guy, but I'll just hear like a banging sound inside of the trailer. And they'll do it right when I walk by the door of the trailer. Stuff like that. And this bird just flew over, synced with this black and silver car, flew right over him right as he synced. And then I already talked about this yesterday, but yesterday I saw the squirrel that ran out in front of me synced. And then I think it was like when I was crossing the street, something like that. And then he runs to the side of me and he stops. And he stopped right at the corner of the house that I'm walking by. And then right when I walk by him, he starts running again. And he synced on me like 3 times. And then squirrels are always like running up trees next to me and doing sync things. And then occasionally I'll see squirrels and birds that I don't know if they're synced or not. I don't know if it's every squirrel and bird out here that's synced or what, but it's a lot of them though, all day. And then there's more sinkers driving by, and then there's one taking off out of the parking lot. But what else? yesterday morning when I was recording, it was a bunch of 33 cars. Just on that one video, it was a bunch of 33 cars. It was like 33 cars. I see a lot of 33 cars every day, but like it was a lot of them, a lot more of them. Just that was the theme for that video, was 33 cars. This guy just walked around a van synced with a car driving by. My water heater turned on at the same time. So how's everybody doing? Got 5 people in here today. What's up with everybody else? And then like my apartment, the door, the 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 fire alarm is right above my door. And I don't know, probably a strategic thing. Like, this is the apartment that they chose for me, you know? This is the one that's right underneath the really loud ass fire alarm that they'll test sync sometimes. Whenever they test it, it's going off synced. And it's right above my door and it's really loud. And the walls are really thin. And then like this one stalker always parks their car like right in front of my window, like not right outside, but like across the parking lot. It's like right in front of where my window is. It's probably strategically parked there. And then I'll come outside sometimes and there'll be a 666 or a 33 or 322 or whatever parked right outside, right in front of the door. And like leaving right when I come out sometimes, or just sometimes just a car parked there with nobody in it and turned off. Or like one time it was like a red 666 or something like that. And then when I come out and it was just sitting there turned off, and then when I come out the door, there's a blue car driving by behind it, and it's parked right in front of the door. It's just all types of strategic idiocracy things they do. And And then, like I said yesterday, when I was walking on that path, like, well, first there was that helicopter that flew behind me, and then I come to the other part of that part of the path, like where it curves off onto the other path, and there's this guy walking out in front of me, and there's a guy on a bike on the other path coming out in front of me when I get there, and then I walk up onto the other path, and then the guy walking does the on-foot U-turn when I get to the fork in the path ahead of me, and turns around, walks back the other way, and he walked up like to the street where the street is, and turned around right there, right as I'm walking by the fork in the path. And then I've seen people do that before too, and I've seen him do it right there at that place before too, where he did it. They'll just do an on-foot U-turn, and just turn around and walk the other way. And then the AC thing outside, it hasn't turned on yet today, I don't think. It's off right now. My refrigerator is on right now. It probably turned on synced. It's gonna turn off synced, and then it's gonna maybe get louder synced in between there. It'll just get louder synced all of a sudden. It'll just get louder. But but the AC thing outside my apartment though, I just got a feeling that it's not even real. That's not even a real AC thing. It doesn't do anything. It's just there to sync and to be uh what do you call it? Background noise. It's very rare when it's just completely quiet, and then if it is, it's not usually for very long, or it's just like for like a certain time period, and then when I do the next thing, then there's a sound again or whatever. Like I'll just be sitting here reading a book, and it'll be completely quiet the entire time, and then when I put the book down, then there's a truck engine outside or whatever, or the AC outside turning on or whatever type of sound. But usually there's some type of sound constantly throughout the day. At night it'll get quieter, but yeah. There's stalkers out there. When I worked at Domino's, they would always, like, the high school is right across the street, and they would be having like football practice, or they would be doing track, like a track event. And like when I mention things like this, it's not it's not my imagination, because I don't mention things unless it's happened more times than it could be a coincidence, you know? Like if it just happens like one or two times, then maybe it's a coincidence. I could just be imagining it. I could just be overthinking, you know? But if it keeps happening, then it's not. So this sounds crazy, of course, and of course all of it is meant to sound crazy, but and like they do a million things so that I'm just mentioning everything in the world, like every car color and just everything, so to make me sound crazy. But no, they actually do it though. But they would always be whistling, they'd be blowing their whistles synced when they're doing football practice. Like right when I walk up to my car and get in, there'd be a whistle blowing or stuff like that. And like right when I walk by curbs and stuff, they'd be blowing the whistles synced. And then the track events, they would be shooting the gun synced. Or like the announcer would come on the speaker synced. The announcer on the speaker would be starting the talk synced, and then there was a concert that was outside, like on Norfolk Avenue downtown, that like you could hear it all the way over at Domino's. And this happened a few times, I think, where they're having concerts downtown. But like I would come out on delivery, and there's a lot of sync heads right now. There's a lot of whiteys. And there would be someone on the stage having a concert. It's like the lead singer or whatever, or the event speaker or whatever, I don't know. But like someone would be on the stage talking, and they'd be like talking synced, or like they'd be playing music and they'd be like yelling it, like when they're like, come on everybody clap your hands or whatever. Like they'd be yelling synced. They'd be saying something synced on the microphone, like with me like walking up to my car or whatever. It just kept happening. What else? There's some other things I was gonna mention. There's a siren going off right now. But yeah, they would always have two. I've mentioned this a bunch of times, but just if anyone who was here or whatever, they would always have receipt numbers and like order numbers when I was at Domino's. Like the receipt number would have 33 or whatever, all those different numbers that I see on license plates and stuff. 322, 33, 66, just any repeating number, 84, 64, 93. I would see these numbers on the order number, or like there would be deliveries where like I would have to call their phone and then their phone number would have 666 in it or something. Or like when I'm like they would call in a delivery and then I would be the only one available to answer the phone. Like everyone else would just be busy, just coincidentally. Everyone else is busy with something and I'm the one who has to answer the phone. And then their phone number has 84 in it or something. And then the thing on the phone that like counts the time that I've been on the phone would like they like I would be getting their credit card number, and right when they start to say it, the time on the phone would say like 3:33, like 3 minutes and 33 seconds, or 3:22, or things like that. There's this loud truck driving by me right now, and he's syncing up with all these other black and silver and white cars, and he's a black truck, and then he's meeting a blue car when he gets to the street. And then there's whiteys in the background. And then at my other job after Domino's, they would have things like the title of it, the thing that I'm doing, like would have like, or like it would be a stack of shit that I have to do, and the one at the top or the one at the bottom of the stack or whatever would have a thing on it. It would be like the title of it would be like the name of somebody. Would be like, I don't remember half of them, but like it would be like the name of somebody. It would just be a lot of weird like subliminal shit, or it would be like the White House, or it would be like I don't even remember honestly, but it was a lot of weird subliminal shit going on. And then like one time at Domino's, I had a delivery. It would always be like the first delivery. Most nights, the first delivery would have something. It would have 33, or it would have some subliminal thing, like on the receipt or whatever. But the first delivery one night was going to McDonald's, and then the person's name that I was delivering to, last name is McDonald. But it would be like the first and last delivery of the night usually would have something like that. This fire truck just drove out. And he's syncing with these two whiteys. He doesn't have his siren on, but he's syncing with the whiteys though. And then this construction vehicle in the background is syncing with the whiteys too, I think. And the fire truck's coming back around. And then the construction crane thing started to move right when he drove by it. And then these two cars are mirroring each other on the street right now. Or one's in the parking lot, one's on the street, and they're like driving next to each other. And then I haven't seen fake pullovers in a long time. Well, I saw these cops in a parking lot the other day that had someone pulled over. I don't know. I think it was one because it looked like, at least it looked like one of the cops was doing sync stuff. So I don't know. But I used to see fake pullovers all the time, and especially when I worked at Domino's, they'd be doing fake pullovers a lot. I would go out on delivery. Like it would be, like it was a couple of times where like I would drive by like as they're getting pulled over or like as the cop is getting out of his car or something, and then I would drive back the other way on the way back. And they'd be leaving when I'm driving back. They'd be leaving right next to me. Stuff like that. And then like for a while, it was like every Friday night they were doing fake pullovers when I worked at Domino's. And then they did it in the parking lot a few times. And they did it right as I came out of work one night, right next to me, right at the intersection, right outside. Like I walk out the door, and then like Domino's is right there next to the intersection. I walk out the door, I walk by the intersection, and I get to the other side of the street, and then there's a cop. There's a car and a cop driving by me, and then the cop turns his lights on right next to me when I get across the street, and then they turn into the Domino's parking lot behind me. And then there was one night where they like came into the parking lot when I was inside the store, and it's nighttime. They come into the parking lot, and they pull some, or they're like driving around looking for the person or whatever, driving around the building synced with each other, like driving in a circle, like one car driving around the front of the building. I'm like over by the drive-through window, and like one car drives in front of me through the front window, and then another cop car is driving by me on the side at the same time, their lights on. And then they have this guy like pulled over in the parking lot when I come out on a delivery, and then they're just like talking to him or whatever. And then I come back from the delivery, and they're putting him in handcuffs as I drive by him and come back in the parking lot. And then we close, and then I come outside after we close, and they're towing his car away as I'm walking by them in the parking lot. They're towing his car away right at that moment, and a cop is doing a U-turn next to me in the parking lot. But they used to do the fake pullovers all the time. but it's not as frequent anymore. I'll see one again someday. The last time it happened, I was recording it, so whenever that was, it was like several months ago. It was like last year or something. These guys just all synced up with each other in the parking lot. And then they would they're always doing, when I'm at a job, they're always doing direct to conversation around me, my coworkers. And like one thing they would always say was the word program at a synced moment. They would just say the word program, like talking about like a computer program or whatever. They're like, we need to reboot the program or whatever. Or they'll just say things like that, or they'll say things like government, or they'll say like the typical things like hot and cold and like, or they would always be talking about cats synced. Did I tell you what my cat did yesterday? And they're saying the word cat right as I'm pressing the button on the computer to check out my delivery and things like that. Just right at a sync moment, they're saying the word cat. Like they're starting to talk as I'm walking up to the computer, and then right when I press the button, they're saying the word cat, you know? Like, did you hear what my cat did yesterday? Like, they just say the word cat right at a sync moment. But like sometimes it'll just be like a random thing that they're saying though. It seems like they'll just like pick a word or like pick a thing to say, and then they're just saying it over and over at synced moments. I forget what it was. In my back, it was just like a random thing that they were saying, but they kept saying it at synced moments. Or like one night I was walking. This is when I was recording one night, a long time ago. But I was walking up the street, and these people were walking up behind me, like down the street from me, behind me, across the street. They're just like following me up the street, basically. But um, they kept like they're just talking, and then they'll just say, and then like the rest of what they're saying, I can't even hear what they're saying, but they'll just say it louder, like more enunciated. They'll just say the sync word more enunciated. And it's like, are they even having a conversation at all? Or is it a scripted conversation? Are they even saying words in between? Or are they just like wah 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 wah, like Charlie Brown people? Or what? I don't know, but all I can hear is this one word that they keep saying, synced, and they just kept saying the word government at synced moments. They just kept saying government at synced moments. It's like saying it louder than all the other things they're saying. These two whiteys synced up, and then their car hit their lock button at the same time. And then this truck just pulled up, synced with a FedEx a minute ago, and all these other sync things are happening. But yeah, that video yesterday was crazy though, when those two guys with the blue shirts walked right in front of me, and then the one guy is like this right when he walks in front of me, like takes his hat off, puts it back on, right as he walks in front of me with the other blue shirt guy. And they did like 100 other synced up things. And then the other guy had one hand in his pocket with the blue shirt. It's just really obvious, you know? What else? What else happened that I forgot to talk about? I also used to see drones a lot, but I haven't seen drones in a long time. I don't even remember last time I saw a drone. And I wonder, are they still out there, but they have their lights off? I don't know. But they'll always, when I do see them, they'll be doing sync things to let me know that it's a drone for me. You know? They'll be far away. They'll be like in the distance, but like they're doing sync stuff though. They're moving around synced. Oh yeah, the rain started up synced last night again. Like I don't know if they're turning. I think they do turn the rain on synced, but like I don't know if it's that or if they're just syncing something up with it. Like they know that it's gonna start raining right now, so they just sync up a sound with it. But either way, it happened a few nights ago and it happened again last night where it started to rain right as my water heater turned on or something like that. Like right as it turns on, I'm hearing raindrops hitting my window. Just does happen. And it just does happen every time there's a thunderstorm, there's sync thunder and lightning. It just does happen every time. Over and over. Yep. I think I heard someone come out in the hall just a second ago. Synced. But I don't know. I don't know. There goes the engine sound as he synced. There's a white car driving out at the same time. There's another car synced with it, and another whitey synced with it. And then there's someone crossing the street, and they probably did it synced. And then, and they're crossing another street, and it looks synced with these other sync heads. I got scared. Got scared of what? Oh, and then he's walking back out around a corner of a building with the whitey driving out around it. The same sync head. But yeah, like one night, they were just like, get it together. They said that synced. And like one person says it right as I walk by him, and then another person says it right as I walk by them. They're having two different conversations with like, it's like but it's like within the span of like 10 seconds of each other. Like I walk by one person, they're talking to somebody, and then I walk by another person, they're talking to somebody else. But like I walk by one person, he's like, get it together, and then I walk by another person, and he's like, get it together. Like we need to get it together or something like that. But they're having two different conversations. And then one night, I'm texting a predator on my phone, and one of my coworkers across the room says the exact thing that I'm texting right as I press send, which was just like, I don't remember what I said, but it was just like 2 words or something. But they say the exact same thing that I typed right as I press send. Things like this are always happening, especially at jobs. They're always doing direct conversation, like all the time. My coworkers, these two tan cars, just synced up. Tan car parked right as the tan car drove out behind it. And then a red and a blue sync. And then a white sync with the red and the blue sync. And they'll be doing that out in the hallway in my apartment too, doing direct conversation stuff when they come out. I can hear them through my door. And then, like, just everywhere. just everywhere. Just people doing direct conversation stuff. But usually they're just starting to talk synced is like the main thing. Is like they'll just start to talk synced or stop talking synced or like get louder synced or laugh synced or cough synced or sneeze synced or whatever. And then like I don't know if it was the day that I had the interview or whatever, but like I applied for this landscaping job. Like I was standing outside my apartment one day, like a couple weeks ago or whatever. And like I just applied for this landscaping job and so like someone walked by me and said the word landscaping right when they walked by me and they were a stalker. They were in a red shirt or whatever. But they just said that word right as they walked by me, and then some other stalker walked by me and said long hair. Like they were talking about somebody with long hair, like some guy with long hair. They're like, he has long hair or something like that. And it's just like they're just talking about me, but they're talking about somebody else though. And like, but it was like multiple people kept coming by, like when I was standing out there one day. Like somebody said landscaping, someone said long hair, and then somebody else said something else, I forget. But then this cop just synced with a whitey right now. Is he gonna come back around the other way? No. Alright, he's going out there speed trapping or something. Then he'll be back. He's gotta go do a fake pullover in front of another TI's house and then he'll be back over here. Something like that. Something pointless and nonsensical like that, or speed trapping. There's this whitey way in the far distance in the background that's synced up with these whiteys. There's a bunch of cars back there way in the distance that are all white. There's a lot. There's another whitey back there. Wow. And then someone was walking by in the hallway and it was synced with the cars and this guy walking out. Or they'll just say things about like jail or death or what, you know. I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but I don't know if there's anyone new watching or like what, but I just like to repeat myself sometimes because just to like, just to illustrate the full scope of everything. Like it's a million things going on. There's children screaming synced, and yesterday's video there was a child that was crying synced, and it sounds like he's actually crying, like he's not fake crying, he's really crying, but he kept doing it synced. on that video yesterday with the guys with blue shirts when I was sitting over there. There's a little boy crying synced. And there's infant babies crying synced. And again, it's not like it just cries one time and I'm like, oh, it's crying synced. Like, no, it keeps happening. It just, the same baby keeps doing it. And then every time I walk by a school, when there's kids outside playing playing on the playground, they're screaming synced and like running up to the fence synced and stuff. If I walk by the fence, but it'll be, it's a lot of kids out there. They're all screaming because they're running around playing, But then like right when I cross the street, one of them will be louder and be like screaming or being like "woo" or something. Or just screaming like "ah!" And then they'll do it right when I get to the street, and then they'll do it right when I get across the street, and then they'll do it right at the corner of the house when I get across the street. Stuff like that. Like it happens over. It doesn't just happen one time. It happens over and over, and it's like louder than all the other kids. It's just this one kid that keeps screaming louder at synced moments. Or like a couple of them or whatever. So it's not me imagining, it's not me overthinking, it's none of that. It is happening, and it is happening all the time, like every day. Like every day. Like every day. And then every time I go outside, there's dogs barking synced. Like every time. Or maybe not every time I go outside, but most of the time, especially if I'm walking through where there's not a lot of cars around to make engine sounds synced and stuff. Like if I walk on a less busy street and it's quieter, then I'll just hear a dog start to bark synced. And then it'll start a symphony of dog barkers that are all barking synced. And then it'll be so many dogs barking sometimes, and I'm like, I don't know which ones are synced and which ones are unsynced, or I don't know. But it is always happening though, every time I go outside. And then it's always happening that there'll be a dog outside in the yard on the leash or whatever, in the fenced in backyard or whatever. And they'll be barking synced, and they'll be barking right when I walk by them, or they'll start barking right when I walk by them or whatever. And then the people are coming out of the house synced, and they're like, stop barking, and they'll let the dog in. They'll walk out the door synced. and be like, hey, stop barking, and let the dog in. And that exact thing is always happening. All the time. They'll either come out of the house right when I walk by the house, or like right when I'm crossing the street, or things like that. And it's happened on many different videos, and it's always happening. And there's many different videos where you can hear dogs barking synced, and you can hear children screaming synced, and it is happening on many different videos. And it is happening over and over again on the video. And you can hear it with your ears. And if you can't hear it, then you need to get your ears checked. And if you can't see the syncs, then you need to get your eyes checked. Or you're colorblind or something. Because it just keeps happening over and over. But then people keep coming in over and over and saying that it's not happening. But it is, though. Not that I care about them, really. I just talk back to the trolls just whatever. But they're not gonna convince me that it's not happening, because it is. What slammy noise is this outside? Is it a stalker again? Was it a sink slammy? I don't know. What else? Anybody got any questions or anything? Why do you think you're important enough to be stalked by 1,000,000 people? I don't know, man. It just is happening. Here comes a guy on a bike, and he's syncing up with someone walking across the parking lot in this white car. And then all these other cars are driving out at the same time. And it's a tan car and a blue car and a bunch of other cars. And then the guy on the bike is meeting the tan car at the corner of the building. And then a bunch of other sync heads. And then non-stop sync heads. Non-stop. And someone just opened a door in the hallway right now, synced, and then the heater on my wall is click synced. I don't even know why I got the heater on right now. Let's turn it off so it stops clicking synced. It's even cold right now. And then at my one job after Domino's, it was in this like warehouse type place with all these machines of all these different types of machines that everybody was operating around me, and they're making all these machine sounds synced. The whole night, every night. That plus people walking around me synced and like stopping next to me, like stopping next to me having a conversation, and then they walk away synced, and then there's noises going off synced. It's like beep 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 beep, just like all these different sounds synced. People doing direct to conversation and coughing and pointing and guy with a red shirt walking by with a guy with a blue shirt next to me, and there would always be people with red and camel on, like they have a red shirt and a camel pants, things like that. And then at my last job, I was in the back room, like they were like, I was like doing training, so like this guy was just like telling me what to do. He's like, all right, we can go in that back room and sweep it now. It's getting toward the end of the night, so go back there and sweep and mop back there. I was like, all right. So right at that moment, there's somebody else walking into that back room, and then it's like this tiny room, and they're just like following me around in there as I'm sweeping in there. They just like kept walking around to where I'm at and just kept following me around. Like I would walk over the other part of the room to sweep over there because they would walk over by me, and then they would walk over there. Like, bruh, why? Or like, and then like at that other job, they had me go in the back room, like putting these pallets away or whatever, or something like that. I don't remember. But like, or like they have me come back to this one area and they're like, you're gonna work over here. And then like, I'm just like standing there, and then they're like, nope, you're gonna work over here. It's just like, or like, and then they like bring me into the back room, and then there's just people synchronizing around me, and then it's just like they just have me do things just so they can just walk over there and stalk me, and just like play around with me like I'm some toy or something. It's just like completely pointless, like, or like at Domino's one night they were like, have you seen this person? And I'm like, No, I don't know where they're at. Meanwhile, Skynet knows where everyone's at, so like obviously it's just a game. Like I know this from the start. But like they're like, "Can you go look for him in the back?" So I'm like, "All right." I go look for him in the back. They're not back there, and then I walk back up, and they're like walking in when I come back up to the front. They're walking in the door or something like that. Like they just have me walk around inside pointlessly, and there's other synced up things happening. I forget. It's like they just have me do things pointlessly just to like play around with me or just like I don't know, waste my time or something. I don't know. Like I just walked in a circle around the building for no reason. And like that guy that I was looking for is a stalker too, you know? So he's like it's just a whole it's just a whole setup just to play with me. But it's like, yeah, how do you not know where anyone is? Like, just ask Skynet where they're at. Like, I'll say that sometimes. I'll just be like, just ask Skynet. They know where they're at. Why are you asking me? The sync things, man. It's a million of them. Someone just walked in the hallway a little bit ago. And it makes you sound like a egomaniac too when you talk about things. Like if I wasn't recording things, I would just sound crazy. I know, obviously. It's like, oh, someone's walking in the hallway again. Like that just sounds crazy, but no, that it is someone walking in the hallway to stalk me again, and it is every time. It is literally every time that I hear someone in the hallway, they're stalking me every time. And it is literally every time there's a thunderstorm is synced thunder and lightning. It's not because I think that I'm special, it is just happening every time. And I am special for some reason, I guess, or I'm just a random pick out of a hat, lab rat or something. But it is every time though. So it just is. But I don't know. That's it for this video. Later, y'all.